This is good. I'm going to even closer.
Okay, all right. I'm never this lucky. Do I just go?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Sara has the biggest smile. If you talk to anybody from my hometown about my best friend Sara, you are inevitably going to hear this phrase. Sara and I became friends in the 5th grade when Mrs. Sollenberger asked for a volunteer to help her tie her shoes before PE. You see, my best friend Sara Clark was born with cerebral palsy, and sometimes she needs some help to change her shoes or carry her books from class to class, and I'm kind of a brown noser, so I volunteered. And ever since that day in 5th grade, we were like peas and carrots. We did everything together. We got up to all of the possible shenanigans you can get up to in a small town, which aren't that many. After school, she went away to college, and I stayed local. She joined a sorority. I had a baby. She went to grad school, and I became a teacher. Didn't last long. She graduated, moved to Philadelphia, became an advocate for people with disabilities, and she earned an independent life, which is all that she ever wanted. And all through that, she kept her smile, and she was an inspiration to everybody that met her. She moves back to Illinois a few years after, and one night she calls me and says she's been diagnosed with cancer. But as she has her whole life, she puts that smile back on her face and she fights. She has her kidney removed. She goes through a round of chemo. But that chemo steals her independent life, and she ends up being bedridden. And her mom has to move in to become her caregiver. And a few years later, I get a call from Sara, frantic. Her mom has had a stroke in the other room, and of course, she can't get to her. But not only that, she's really concerned about what's going to happen to her because her mom can't be her caregiver anymore. Her mom has to focus on her own recovery. And this is when we hatched the plan for the greatest shenanigan of our entire lives. I'm going to move Sara into my house, and I'm going to become her caregiver. Whew, okay. So, an ambulance actually delivers Sara from Illinois to my home in Iowa. Okay? And that very first weekend, it's very clear that I have no idea what I'm doing and that she is too ill to actually be in my home. So I get her from her bed into her manual wheelchair. We don't have a handicap accessible vehicle yet. So I push her the 1.5 miles to our local hospital, and we are smiling and laughing the whole time and just thinking what a ridiculous spectacle this must be for anybody that's observing it. But that hospital stay was the best thing that could have happened. We get her Medicaid situated, we'd switch states, and they get home health services available to her, and they get her into a rehab inpatient rehab where she goes for the next 8 weeks. And she learns strengthening exercises, and they actually teach me how to be a caregiver. And most importantly, they put her in a power chair. So she comes home to my house and she has a power chair. And this is the key to her regaining her independence. She's able to come and go from my house as she pleases. She goes to the grocery store. She goes to my kids' sporting events. She goes to church. She even has a boyfriend. Okay? And we have a wonderful period of 2 years where we've built this non-conventional family, and I get to have a sleepover with my best friend every single night. And one Christmas, she starts having trouble swallowing, and she can't keep food down. And we go to all of the appointments, and we find out she has a second cancer in her esophagus. And she's not a candidate to have her esophagus removed, but they think they got all of the tissue, and she doesn't even need chemo. And we take her home, and we have a surprise, Sara, you're not gonna die party, and we celebrate Christmas, and we're just so grateful to have more time with Sara. A couple months later, I get a call at work. Sara says that her care team needs her, or says she needs to go to the hospital. And at this point, it's fairly routine for Sara to go to the hospital and come home in a week or two, so I don't think much of it. I finish my day at work. I go to the hospital to sit with her. She hadn't been transferred yet. It's that same hospital that I had pushed her to when we started our journey. And we talk about everything and nothing all at once, and neither of us know that that's going to be our last conversation. Week and a half later, I get a call at work, and this time it's not Sara. It is her physician, and he says the words hours, maybe days. And I, of course, drop everything, and I run to be by her side, and I walk in, and Sara has the biggest smile on her face, like she always does. But unfortunately, she's not very lucid. A third cancer had invaded her liver, and we caught it too late. And one of the greatest honors of my life was to be in that room when her spirit left her body. So I'm going to leave you with 3 thoughts about my story. 1, cancer sucks. Let's fund the research. Let's find a cure. 2, if you know somebody who's going through a difficult time, do something. You don't have to move them in and become your primary caregiver, because let's face it, that was a little crazy. But call them, get them out of their head. Send some money in an envelope if you can't do anything else, because every little bit helps when they're facing something like that. And 3rd, smile as often as possible, because you never know who you're going to inspire. I personally don't believe in an afterlife, but my friend Sara did. And wherever she is right now, Sara has the biggest smile. Thank you.
Keep it going for Rachel Stewart.